In this lecture, we'll be taking a look at how we can do face recognition using AWS Image Recognition API. The first thing that you need to do is create your AWS account by visiting console.aws.amazon, and once you are inside the website, you need to access Identity and Access Management module, and over here you can see I have some users created. In order to create a new user, you can click on Add User and then provide the details for the user name, and do remember to check this programmatic access. So let's say we provide a name over here as a recognition user. Click on Next Permissions, and here I will assign it to admin group, and then I'll just move on reviewing it, and finally clicking on Create User will provide you the access key ID and a secret key. These are the two things that you need when you are working with AWS Image Recognition. So you need to copy this and put it separately, and then later on we'll use it in our web.config file or app.config file, whatever program we'll be creating. Once you have created the user, the next thing is accessing the AWS Image Recognition. That comes under machine learning, and here you can see Amazon Rekognition. Do remember that this is a paid service, and you will get some free trial usage, but if you will keep it on and you'll keep on using your project or program, in that case you might be billed for the same. Now, details about AWS Rekognition can be seen over here. Our focus in this lecture would be on creating a web application using AWS Rekognition API. For that, we'll be making use of ASP.NET MVC and C#. So here, I've opened my Visual Studio 2019 editor, and inside that, you can see that we have created a sample application wherein we have a controller called Home Controller, a web.config file where we have defined all these keys: AWS bucket, access, secret, and our image bucket as well. So with AWS Image Recognition, the images needs to be on S3. So if you don't have it on S3, you need to put them inside S3 bucket first, and then you'll be able to make use of the Amazon Rekognition API. So that's the reason why you see the image bucket and subdirectory over here. Now this image that you see inside images directory is the one which we will be sending to the Amazon Rekognition API to find out whether it exists in a given collection or not. Now before doing that, let's understand what are the NuGet packages that we need to install. So here, for this project, we'll be making use of AWSSDK.Core and AWSSDK.Rekognition. These two are required. So once you have installed them, you can go back to your home controller, and here the first thing that you need to do is create your image collection. So let's say you have S3 bucket where you have 1000 images, but you want to create the collection on only 500 of them. You can do so by creating a list of images, target images as you can see, and then passing it to a method called create collection. So here you can see I have a method called create collection, which initially creates a collection. So you can consider it as a directory. So by saying create collection, we are saying create a directory which will contain these 500 images. So if I go to this create collection method definition, the first thing that we are doing over here is creating an instance of the class Amazon Rekognition Client, and we are doing that by providing these three things: access key, secret key, and region. Also, you need to see that in order to create a collection, we make use of the create collection method, which basically takes a create collection request, and we just need to provide the collection ID. Do remember that collection ID needs to be unique, so you cannot create the same collection twice. That's the reason why you see over here that when this method is being called, we are trying to delete the collection if it exists already. And to do that, we need to make use of the delete collection method by passing delete collection request, and it contains the collection ID. Now, once the collection has been created, the next step is to add files to that particular collection, and that you do by making use of index faces. So here again we are creating an instance of the AWS Rekognition client. The same set of parameters are being passed: access key, secret key, and region. And then the collection of images which are stored on the S3 are being passed over here. Now you can see it makes use of the index faces method, and here we are passing index faces request. It takes the collection ID as the parameter, and one more thing, the image itself. Now here, as the images are stored on S3, you can see that we are passing the S3 object. It contains the bucket name and name of the image itself. Also, there's a parameter called external image ID. Now this is the ID using which the external systems will be able to identify their images. This also returns a response called index faces response, and using that you can get the face ID of each of the images that are being indexed. That can also be saved in a database column for further requirements. Over here we are simply indexing it, and we are also providing an external image ID using which we will be identifying that yes, this is the image of, let's say, Tom. And then the third and final step is to provide the source image. So here we are saying, now take the image of Tom and tell me whether it exists in this collection or not. So it will take that image and it will try to find it in the collection that we have created. Over here you can see the steps are again same. We are creating a Rekognition client. After that we have two ways of sending the file for comparison. So here you can see this is the source image that I have. So it's residing on my server itself inside this directory. We are passing that using server.map path. So this is the file path that we are passing over here in compare faces collection. And then we have created the Rekognition client, and here we are creating an instance of the Amazon Rekognition model image called image source, and here you can see using the file we're converting it to bytes, and then we're finally passing that to the search face by image method. So here we're creating a search faces by image request, and as you can see we are providing the collection ID. So we are saying inside this collection you need to find the image that I have sent. If the face match threshold is 70F, that is 70% you can say, then consider it as a match. And here is the image source that we created just now will be passed over here. Quality filter we are setting it to auto, and maximum faces that we need to detect in that image is 1. Once this request has been created, a response will be returned and it will be stored inside the result variable. Then we can loop through result.faceMatch, and here we will get the face and then bounding box position. And here I'm just writing a small log which says comparing the source image and face is at this position in the image that has been provided. And this matches with the similarity, what is the percentage that is shown over here, and obviously the image ID. So all these, the image ID that you see over here is nothing but the external image ID which we provided earlier when we were indexing it like this. So that was how to make use of Amazon image recognition to compare faces in a collection of images.